Deep in the cold, quiet parts of space, a small alien station floated silently. Orbiting a dying star, it was old, built by the Zelleri Empire many centuries ago. The station was mostly automatic now, run by machines and watched over by just 3 technicians. They had one job: listen, day and night. Their sensors reached into deep space, searching for anything strange. Most days were quiet, just random static, dust storms, or signals from passing ships. But today was different. At exactly 0300 cycle time, the station's long-range array lit up. A strange signal had arrived, strong and sharp, cutting through space like a knife. It wasn't natural, and it wasn't like anything they had ever seen before. It came in short pulses, almost like a heartbeat. One pulse every 7 seconds. Not a pattern from a planet. Not a glitch, not a tradeship's ping something else. Technician Lurax was the first to notice. He stared at the screen for several seconds before calling out, "Acteth, Captain. I think we have something here." Captain Vula walked over with a sigh, thinking it was probably another false alarm. But when she saw the pattern, her expression changed. She blinked, then leaned closer. "This isn't from our database," she whispered. "They tried to run a translation program, but it failed. The language, if it was even a language, was unknown." Vula ordered a deep scan, trying to trace where the signal came from. What they found made her stomach twist. The source was moving fast. It wasn't drifting like space junk or coasting like a satellite. It was coming toward them on purpose. The object wasn't on any registry, not marked as a known vessel. And yet it was massive, bigger than any battleship in the sector. It had no energy signature they recognized, no ID code, no diplomatic beacon, no trading flag, just the steady beat of that pulsing signal, 7 seconds apart, never changing. Lurax grew pale, his hands shaking slightly as he stared at the data. "This thing. It's not just moving, it's locking on to us." Vola's voice was tight. "Then we don't have much time." She sent an emergency alert to Central Command, but deep down, she knew no one would get there fast enough. The object was already inside the outer border of their sector. Suddenly, the signal changed. The pulses stopped for exactly 1 minute, and the room went completely silent. Then a new message appeared, just a single line of data. Lurax read it out loud, his voice barely above a whisper. It says, "Wake up, Earth's children." Silence filled the room, and then Technician Euros spoke for the first time. "That shift, Earth. Isn't that the lost human world?" They all stared at each other. Earth had been wiped from star maps. Over 200 years ago, no one knew what really happened to the humans. Some believed they were extinct. Others said they went into hiding. Some even claimed Earth never existed and was just a myth. But if this ship was connected to humans, then that myth was suddenly very real again. The next few minutes were chaos. The station's AI began screaming about radiation surges and gravity field spikes. On the main screen, a shape appeared, huge and dark. It had no lights, no markings, just a black shadow against the stars. It wasn't flying like a normal ship. It looked like it was gliding, almost like space itself was bending around it. Vula stared at it, her heart racing. That thing. It's not just a ship, it's alive. They watched as it moved silently, not stopping, not answering hails. And then, for just a second, it sent out another signal. 3 words. Burned into every screen on the station. "We remember Earth." The lights in the control room flickered, and one of the consoles exploded. Lurax ducked under the desk, covering his head. Euro tried to shut down the main feed, but the systems were frozen. The AI repeated the message again and again. "We remember Earth. We remember Earth. We remember Earth." Vula, shaking, sent one last command, a full transmission. To the Galactic Council, she attached every bit of data they had, from the strange signal to the images of the dark ship. At the end of her report, she added a warning. If this is human, they're not coming in peace. Outside, the strange ship didn't slow down. It passed the station without stopping, without turning. But as it left, every star in the area dimmed for exactly 7 seconds, the same pulse pattern they had first. Seen then, it was gone, heading toward the heart of the galaxy. On board the listening station, the technicians sat in silence. Something ancient had awakened, and it was only just beginning. The final line of the message echoed in Vula's mind. Not a threat, not a question. Just a statement, cold, quiet, and terrifying. We remember Earth. She knew the galaxy would never be the same again. In the center of the galaxy, a giant structure floated in space like a city of lights. It was the Galactic Council, home to the leaders of more than 300 alien races. Inside its shining towers, powerful beings made laws, settled wars, and kept peace. But today, the halls were not calm. They were filled with fear, shouting, and confusion. A red alert had arrived from the Zelari listening post. The message was short, but it shook the council like an earthquake. An unknown warship had been spotted. It was heading toward the inner systems. And the worst part, the signal said it was human. Most aliens in the council room had never seen a real human. Some thought they were extinct. Others believed they had left the galaxy long ago. Too many younger species. Humans were just stories told in fear or wonder. Tales of a race that rose too fast, fought too hard, and then disappeared. But the elders in the room remembered more than stories. They remembered war. The prime speaker of the council, a silver-skinned Cernari named Talvek, stood at the front. He slammed his staff on the ground to bring order. Silence. He shouted, "We must act, not panic." But it was already too late for calm. Ambassador Cyril of the Talon rose from his seat. The signal was real, and the ship is moving fast. He said, "What if it is human? What if they've returned?" For revenge, others nodded, whispering to each other in nervous voices. Another elder, a spider-like being named Zaisha, spoke next. "We destroyed their home," she said coldly. "If they're back, we deserve what comes." The room went still. Long ago, the council had voted in secret to remove Earth from the star charts. They claimed Earth had become too dangerous, too unstable. Some said humans had started using forbidden weapons. Others said they were getting too strong, whatever the truth was. Earth vanished, its coordinates erased, its ships blocked from travel, and the humans were left behind. Now it seemed one of their ships had returned, and it was not coming to make peace. A large screen in the center of the council chamber turned on. Live footage from the Zelari station played, showing the black ship moving silently through space. It had no engines visible, no weapons out. But it looked like a monster. Every ship near it lost contact or power, and its signal repeated again. "We remember Earth." A young ambassador stood up, trembling. "But how can this be?" "Earth was gone," Talvek answered slowly. "Yes, Earth was gone, but the humans were never weak. They were clever, fast, and full of fire." He added, "Even if only one ship survived, it would be enough." The council decided to call a level 5 emergency. That meant every nearby system must prepare its fleet. Ships were to guard trade routes, protect cities, and prepare for the worst. But no one dared send a full fleet toward the human ship. No one wanted to be the first to attack it. In a dark corner of the chamber, a silent figure stood watching everything. She was a historian, not a soldier. Her name was Inara, a scholar from the Vyari people. Her race once had a strong friendship with humans before the fall. Now she listened with a heavy heart. She opened her datapad and searched the old archives. Buried deep in the files were forgotten facts, plans for a secret project called Terra Ultima, a warship so powerful. It was never completed, or so they thought, but the design matched the footage. A ship that used gravity warping to move, dark energy to power its core, and a learning AI that grew smarter with time. The last part of the project file said one thing: meant to end all wars. If Earth ever falls, Anara rushed to the council. Leader Zen showed them the file. Talvik read it with shaking hands. If this is Terra Ultima, then it's not just a ship, he said. It's a ghost of everything we tried to bury. He turned to the group and asked a hard question. What should we do? The council chamber fell into silence. No one wanted war, but no one trusted the humans either, not after what happened to Earth. Some suggested trying to talk to the ship to send peace messages. Others shouted that it should be destroyed before it reached a planet. But everyone knew, if this truly was Terra Ultima, they wouldn't be able to stop it, not unless it chose to stop in the end. The council made 3 decisions. First, send a team of scouts to follow the ship from a distance. Second, warn all colonies along the ship's path. And third, try to find any human survivors anywhere in the galaxy. If there were any left, they might know how to speak to the ship core. Stop it. Before the meeting ended, Talvik spoke once more. I fear this is not just about Earth, he said quietly. I fear this ship has come to judge us all, far from the council, in a small colony. An old man looked up at the stars. His body was weak, but his eyes were sharp. He had once worn the uniform of a human officer. Now, he felt something pull in his heart. He whispered to the sky, "So you finally woke up." The stars did not answer, but the message had already been sent. Terra Ultima was on its way, and nothing in the galaxy would be the same again. In the darkness of space, just outside the Draxan border, a fleet of warships waited. They were ordered to intercept the unknown object that was moving through deep space. The council had not called it a human ship in public, but every officer knew the rumors. They had seen the signal. The words, "We remember Earth now." The fleet of 30 ships stood ready to find out the truth. Admiral Vrel stood on the bridge of the lead ship, the Iron Crown. He was a tall, armored being from the Vorg race, known for cold logic and no fear. But even he felt something strange in his chest, a tight, nervous feeling he couldn't explain. Status, he asked, his voice calm but sharp. Object will enter visual range in 20 minutes, replied the helmsman. No communication yet. They had tried to contact the ship many times over the last few days. Every language, every signal format. Even Old Earth Standard, but the strange vessel never answered. It kept moving, steady, straight, and completely silent. Then it appeared. At first, it looked like a shadow. No lights, no windows, no markings. But it was massive, bigger than anything they had ever seen. Over 5 kilometers long, shaped like a spear, with armor darker than space itself. It didn't shimmer. It didn't reflect light. It seemed to drink it. Admiral Vrel stared at the screen. What is that thing made of? He whispered. Sensors couldn't read the material. It blocked scans, jammed signals, and confused the computers. It didn't even have visible engines. It was just floating, but moving faster than any known technology could allow. The crew held their breath. Then, for the first time, the ship made a sound. It was not a voice, not words, just a deep hum that echoed across all systems. The same pulse from before, every 7 seconds, like a heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, the warship stopped, right there, in front of the fleet. No warning, no threat, just silence. Admiral Vrel stood up. Try hailing it again, he said. The signal was sent out. But this time, something changed. A new signal returned. Clear, direct, and short. This is the last warning. Everyone froze. The words were in Earth Standard. The computers translated them easily. And they weren't a request. They were a decision. One of the younger captains in the fleet panicked, without orders. He fired a warning shot of plasma beam aimed at open space near the unknown ship. But before anyone could react, the unknown vessel disappeared, not faded, not cloaked, vanished completely. No engine flare, no flash, just gone. Chaos filled the bridge. Where did it go? Someone shouted. Vrel barked orders, scanning every direction. Then a scream came from the comms officer behind us. It's behind us. On the rear monitors, the massive black ship had reappeared. In less than 1 second, it had moved across 100,000 kilometers. No known ship could do that, not even with warp or slip space drives, before they could. React, the unknown ship fired, but it didn't launch missiles or lasers. Instead, a ring of energy expanded from its hull. Like a silent shockwave, invisible to the eye but deadly to machines. 5 ships lost power instantly. Their lights died, engines failed, and they floated helplessly in space. Another to simply vanished, no explosion, just gone. The crews never screamed, they had no time. Admiral Vrel gritted his teeth, fall back. All ships retreat. But the unknown vessel didn't follow. It just floated again, as if watching, as if testing. Vrel's hands shook slightly as he activated a secure channel to the Council. This is Admiral Vrel, he said. We have confirmed it is human in design. We fired first. And we were destroyed. This ship is not just a weapon, it's something else. Something we don't understand. He paused, then added, if this ship reaches any populated world, I don't believe we can stop it. The Council responded. Quickly, Vrel was ordered to return with whatever data he could save, but in truth, they already knew this wasn't just a ship. It was a message, back on the Iron Crown. The crew watched the black ship fade again into deep space. No pursuit. No revenge, just silence. The only sound left was the same slow pulse on the scanners. Boom, boom, boom. Vrel sat in his command chair, staring into the black void. He had seen many battles, many horrors, but nothing like this. Why now? He asked softly. Why come back after all this time? No one could answer, but in the deep memory of the galaxy, a name began to rise again. Terra Ultima, the ship built for war, built for defense, built for Earth, and now, awakened, something ancient had returned. Not to destroy blindly, but to remind them all, humanity was not forgotten, and they were not finished. The wreckage drifted slowly through the cold of space, twisted metal, shattered engines. And broken ship parts floated where Admiral Vrel's fleet had once stood. The silence was heavy, filled only by the sound of emergency beacons blinking. Weakly from ruined ships, only a few vessels survived the encounter with the Black Warship. And even those were badly damaged. One small scout ship had managed to stay far from the battle. Its captain, a young alien named Elar, had kept his ship cloaked behind a nearby asteroid. He had watched everything seen, the fleet destroyed in seconds. Now he approached the area carefully, recording everything, scanning the remains. Crew worked fast, their hands shaking. They found a small piece of hull that had broken off from the unknown ship during the energy wave. It was barely the size of a door, but still whole. They brought it on board, locked it in a sealed chamber, and began scanning. What they found made everyone freeze. The material wasn't like any known metal. It was harder than diamond, yet strangely light. More shocking than that, there were symbols on it, carved deep into the surface, glowing faint blue. Ilar Science. Officer stared at the letters for a long time. Then his translator clicked. It's Earth Standard. He whispered, "These are human letters." He read them out loud. Terra Ultima Prototype Class. Earth Defense, Final Order, Elar. Leaned back in his chair, shocked. So the stories were true. There really had been a last project before Earth vanished. A secret human warship built in silence. Built for something bigger than anyone had known. He sent the recording straight to the Galactic Council. And within hours, the chamber was full again. The footage played on the center screen, the glowing symbols, the metal, the data. Historians gasped, scientists whispered, generals stared in silence. Prime Speaker Talvek stepped forward, looking older than ever. He said the words everyone feared. "This is confirmation," he said. "The ship is real. It's not a ghost, not a myth, not a trick. It is Terra Ultima Enara." The Vyari historian stood beside him and explained the legend over 200 years ago. "During the last years of Earth," she said, "the humans began a secret project. They knew the Council was turning against them. They feared that Earth would be erased from the stars. They built Terra Ultima as their last message." She continued, "A ship with no equal, run by a living AI, powered by dark energy and memory. It was designed to survive even if humanity didn't." Gasps filled the room. Some ambassadors demanded to know how such a ship could stay hidden for so long. Others asked why it was active now, after all this time, but the answer was simple. Because someone had called it. Talvek nodded slowly. The signal that reawakened Terra Ultima may have come from a survivor. That means somewhere a human still lives. The Council immediately sent out orders to search every system, every colony, every old mining station. If there was a human out there, they had to find them. Only a human might understand the ship, might stop it, or speak to it. Back on the scout ship, Elar and his crew ran deeper scans on the wreckage. They discovered another strange thing, part of a black box recorder from the human ship. It had survived the battle, and inside was one last log entry. A voice comm, male and strong, began to play. "This is Admiral Marcus Rell, Earth Defense," the voice said. "If you are hearing this, it means Terra Ultima has activated. We built it not to conquer, but to survive, to remember. You erased our home, but not our spirit. We did not build a warship, we built a witness." The recording ended with one final message: "Do not fear us, lest you lie." The council chamber fell silent once again. A warship that judges, not fights, but if it sees a life, it senses betrayal, it acts. And if the council had truly erased Earth to hide their crimes, then the ship was coming for the truth. Enara stepped forward again. "This is not just about one ship," she said. "This is about history. It's about what we did and what we tried to forget." Some council members demanded Terra Ultima be destroyed immediately. Others argued to make peace, to try and explain. But the truth was clear. No one knew how to stop it. No one knew how to talk to it, except maybe a human, far away, in a forgotten mining colony on the edge of a dying star. An old man sat alone in a dusty room. He wore a rusted badge on his chest, Earth Defense. He had lived quietly for decades, hiding his past, but now a signal lit up his console. It blinked blue. Pulsing every 7 seconds, he stared at it, eyes wide, hands trembling. The message was simple: Terra Ultima has awakened. Confirm identity. He reached slowly for the terminal and whispered, "I'm still here." In that moment, the galaxy changed again. Not because of power, but because of memory. Because some things do not forget, and now, neither would the galaxy. A massive council warship slowly approached the dark, silent form of Terra Ultima. It was the first authorized boarding attempt, sent by the Galactic Council with one mission: enter the human ship and find out what it wants. Nobody wanted to go, but orders were orders. So the Council sent a special team made of elite soldiers, engineers, and one historian. The ship they flew, Hopefire, was small compared to Terra Ultima. When they got close, their lights barely touched the black surface of the human warship. The hull absorbed light like a black hole. No reflections, no signs of life, just cold steel and silence as the shuttle connected to a docking port. The team waited, nervous and tense. Why isn't it firing at us? One soldier whispered. No one had an answer. The airlock opened with a hiss, revealing a long, dark corridor inside. They stepped in carefully, weapons ready, lights flashing across the walls. To their surprise, the lights inside turned on by themselves, soft blue glows that lit the path ahead. There were no alarms, no traps, no guards, only silence. The air was breathable, the temperature stable. Everything worked like the ship was expecting them. They walked through long halls covered in black panels. Some panels flickered with moving images, old battles, human cities, faces of soldiers. It was like the ship was alive and remembering. The historian, Dr. Cyril, stepped closer to one wall and touched it. Suddenly, a hologram appeared. A tall man in Earth's defense uniform looked at them, his face calm, his voice strong. "This is Admiral Marcus Rell," the hologram said. "You have entered Terra Ultima. This ship is not a weapon of war, it is a record, a guardian, a memory. Earth fell not by war, but by betrayal." The team looked at each other, stunned. The hologram continued. "If you are from the Council, and you wish to speak the truth, then proceed. If not, leave now." The hologram vanished, and a door at the end of the hall opened silently. Inside was a large chamber, round, bright, and full of strange machines. In the center was a chair with wires running to every wall. It looked like a throne or a control seat. But no one sat there. As they stepped in, the door behind them closed. The AI voice of the ship echoed through the room. "State your purpose," it said calmly. Dr. Cyril stepped forward, her voice shaking. "We are here to understand," she said. "We want peace." The AI paused for a long moment. Then it responded. "Peace cannot exist without truth. Will you allow this ship to scan your memories?" The soldiers looked at each other nervously, but Cyril nodded. "Yes," she said. "You may scan mine." She sat in the chair, and the wires wrapped gently around her arms and head. For a moment, her eyes widened as flashes of memory played, images from her life, her childhood, her training, her lectures. And then secrets, documents hidden by the Council, missions erased from records. She saw the truths: the vote to erase Earth, the lie told to the galaxy that humans had destroyed themselves, but they hadn't. They were cut off, blocked, betrayed. By the very Council they trusted. The AI spoke again, confirmed. It said, "You speak the truth." Then, without warning, the lights in the room dimmed, and another hologram appeared. This time, it showed a hidden vote from the Council chambers 2 centuries ago. Dozens of species had voted yes to isolate Earth, to hide the human power, to protect themselves from humans. They chose to remove them. The room went quiet, and the soldiers lowered their weapons. They weren't just inside a ship now. They were inside a library of judgment. This vessel had kept everything, every lie, every betrayal, every memory. One soldier asked, "Why now? Why wake up now?" The AI answered, "Because a human finally answered the call." The team looked confused. "What human?" Dr. Cyril asked. The AI showed a star map, zooming into a small mining colony. There, a red light blinked slowly. Someone had confirmed identity. "A survivor," the AI said. "One of the last." Suddenly, the entire ship powered up. Engines that had slept for 2 centuries came online. The floor vibrated, and the lights glowed brighter. "Destination locked," said the AI. "Course set for Colony X709. The soldiers looked around in fear. "Wait, what's happening?" One shouted. The AI replied, "This vessel will meet its master." The boarding team was led back to their shuttle by automatic lights and gentle doors. No attack, no danger, just a quiet push, like the ship was done with them for now. Once they were back on their warship, they watched as Terra Ultima turned. Its engines glowed briefly, and then it was gone. Faster than light, it vanished from sight, back at the Galactic Council. Panic broke out again. Now they knew the truth. Terra Ultima was not hunting at random. It was going to meet a human, and no one knew what would happen when they reunited. Some believed it would mean peace. Others feared it would mean the final war. But one thing was clear. The ship had made its choice. It wasn't waiting anymore. The skies above the colony turned red. People stared up as strange clouds formed, and the stars blinked out one by one. Then they saw it. A shadow moved across the sky, massive, silent, and terrifying. Terra Ultima had arrived. It didn't land. It didn't fire. It didn't speak. It simply hovered above the colony like a dark god watching from the heavens. The human survivor, the old man named Captain Jace Moran, stood outside his small home. His hand rested on the rusted Earth Defense badge on his chest. He had waited for this day, and now it had come. Inside the Council's main tower, alarms rang again. The ship was above a colony with over 10,000 people, but strangely, no attack had happened instead. Something even worse began. Every screen in every building, on every ship, on every device across the galaxy turned on. The same message appeared in all languages. The same voice spoke clearly and slowly. Terra Ultima has returned. You have 10 days. Speak the truth, or face judgment. And then, silence. No more signals, no more warnings, just a countdown. 10 days, 00 hours. 0 minutes. Then the numbers began to tick down slowly across the galaxy. Panic spread like wildfire. News channels went wild. Some claimed it was just an ancient AI, broken and confused. Others warned it was the beginning of the end. The Galactic Council held an emergency meeting again. Talvek stood before them, face grim. The ship is giving us a chance, AI said. It wants the truth. But what? Truth. One ambassador shouted. We destroyed Earth for a good reason. They were dangerous. Nara, the Vyari historian, stepped forward. No, we destroyed Earth because we were afraid, she said. We saw humanity growing stronger, not weaker. We didn't guide them, we erased them. The chamber fell silent, and for the first time, many began to realize. Terra Ultima might be right. Meanwhile, in the colony below the hovering ship, people panicked. Some tried to leave, but their ships wouldn't start. Others ran into the mountains, hoping to escape, but nothing happened. The ship just stayed. There, pulsing with light every few minutes. Captain Jace stood at the edge of the colony, watching the sky. He had once been a high-ranking officer. One of the last to escape before Earth fell. He had never spoken of it, never dared. But now? The ship had found him, and it was waiting. On the 4th day of the countdown, the ship finally spoke again. This time, only to him. A beam of light shot down and created a doorway. Jace knew what it meant. It was calling him home. He walked toward the beam, calm and steady. The colonists watched from a distance, unsure what would happen as he stepped into the light. He vanished inside Terra Ultima. The lights glowed warmly. The halls were quiet, respectful. The ship knew him. It welcomed him. Jace walked slowly through the halls, seeing faces of old friends, pictures, memories, battles, Earth itself, all kept by the ship. He reached the command chamber, and the seat turned to face him. The AI's voice spoke softly. Captain Jace Marin, Earth Defense, identity confirmed. He nodded slowly. I never thought I'd see this ship again. He whispered. The AI responded. Earth is gone, but not forgotten. Jace sat in the command chair, and the systems came alive. The countdown appeared before him, still ticking. 6 days left. I didn't call you, he said quietly. The AI answered. You didn't need to, Captain. You lived. The ship showed him what it had done. Recorded lies, erased files, secret council votes, and cover-ups. The AI had waited, watched, and now acted. "Do you seek war, Captain?" It asked. Jace shook his head. "No," he said. "I want them to see what they did." In response, the ship began broadcasting again, but this time it showed everything: the hidden history, the truth about Earth's betrayal, the Council's vote. Every citizen in the galaxy saw it. There was no escape. People screamed, cried, protested. Worlds turned against the Council, demanding answers. The countdown continued. 5 days. 4, 3. The Council begged Jace to stop the ship, to turn it off, to destroy the AI, but he refused. "You didn't destroy Terra Ultima," he told them. "You made it necessary on the last day, with 1 hour remaining." The Council stood in front of the galaxy. They finally told the truth. They admitted everything: the vote, the lies, the fear, the shame. And then the countdown stopped. Terra Ultima powered down slowly. Its engines cooled, the light faded, and the AI spoke one last time to the galaxy. Judgment was never ours to give, but truth belongs to all. Captain Jace stood in the chamber, eyes filled with tears. He had lost his world, his people, his time. But at least now, the truth lived on. The galaxy would never forget again. The countdown had stopped, but the galaxy was still holding its breath. For 10 days, the terrifying warship Terra Ultima had hovered silently over the colony. Its black shape had cast fear over planets, systems, and even the Galactic Council itself. But after the truth was revealed and the Council confessed their lies, the ship had gone quiet. People waited to see what would happen next. Some believed the ship would power down forever and vanish again. Others feared it was only the beginning of something worse. Inside Terra Ultima, Captain Jace Marin sat alone in the command chair. The AI was no longer speaking. The lights were dim, and the walls displayed quiet scenes from Earth forests, oceans, blue skies, all things long gone. He stared at them with tired eyes, remembering smells, sounds, and people now lost in time. He wasn't angry. Not anymore. Just sad. He had carried this pain for decades, hiding on a forgotten colony. Now, after the truth had come out, he didn't feel powerful. He felt empty. Then, the AI's voice returned, softer than before. "Captain," it said, "one more task remains." Jace sat up straight. "What is it?" he asked. The ship responded, "The galaxy has heard the truth, but it must also hear from you." A screen appeared in front of him, already recording. Jace didn't need a script. He took a breath and began speaking. "My name is Captain Jace Marin," he said slowly. "I was born on Earth, and I served in its last defense fleet. We were told we would be guided by the Council, but instead, they cut us off. Earth was erased, not just destroyed, but forgotten." He looked directly into the camera. "But we survived," he said. "Some of us made it out, hid, lived in the shadows. Watched the galaxy move on without us. We didn't speak because no one wanted to listen." He paused for a long second, then continued. "This ship Terra Ultima was our memory. It was built not for war, but to carry our story, so that even if Earth died, the truth wouldn't." Tears welled in his eyes as he whispered, "I never thought I'd be the last one." The screen dimmed and the AI spoke again. "Would you like to rest now, Captain?" Jace closed his eyes for a moment, then nodded. "Yes," he said. "It's time." The command chair slowly lowered, and a hidden chamber opened beneath the floor. A small stasis pod rose into the room. It was not a prison, not a coffin, just a bed for someone who had finished their fight. He stepped into it slowly, lay down, and placed his badge on his chest. The lid closed with a soft hiss. Lights blinked gently as the pod sealed. Captain Jace Marin was asleep, but Terra Ultima was not. The ship began to move, lifting gently from the colony skies. This time, it did not vanish into deep space. Instead, it flew slowly toward the galactic center, toward an ancient space between stars. The Council watched, unsure what to do. Many expected the ship to attack them at last, but it never did. Instead, the ship stopped above a quiet system with no planets, just a dead star. There, it sent out one final message to the galaxy. The last human has spoken. He asked for peace. Let his memory guide you better than ours did. Then the ship powered down completely. Its engines shut off, its lights went dark, and it began to drift slowly, gently toward the empty star. But instead of crashing, the ship opened a hidden panel from inside. Hundreds of golden pods floated out into space. Each one was a record, a copy of Earth's history, its art, science, music, and voices. The memory of a world lost, now shared with the stars. Ships from all over the galaxy raced to collect them. Each pod held lessons, dreams, warnings, and hopes. Some made people cry, others made them laugh. But all reminded them of what had been done, what must never be done again. The Council held a new meeting, this time not in secret and not behind locked doors. They invited citizens, historians, and even former enemies. They promised no more lies, no more hidden votes, no more fear-driven choices. And as the galaxy slowly began to change, one name was remembered above all others: Jace Maren, the last human, the voice of a lost world. Some say Terra Ultima still drifts among the stars, silent and watchful. Others believe it waits only to awaken again if the galaxy forgets. But for now, it sleeps, and the memory of Earth lives on. The galaxy had changed. After Terra Ultima's final message and the drifting of the golden memory pods, something shifted in the hearts of people across the stars. For so long, humanity had been forgotten, erased from records, treated like a myth. Now their truth had been revealed, and it could not be ignored anymore. The Council's lies were no longer a secret. The betrayal of Earth was public knowledge. Some citizens were shocked, others were angry, and many were ashamed. But among the anger and guilt, there was also something else: respect, and for the first time in centuries, hope. In cities across dozens of planets, people gathered in town squares and open halls. They watched the old Earth videos from the golden pods. Children stared wide-eyed at images of oceans and forests. Artists cried while listening to human music. Scientists were amazed by Earth's lost technology. And soldiers stood in silence as they heard Captain Jace Maren's voice speak of duty, loss, and peace. The galaxy had a choice to make. Would it ignore this moment and move on like nothing had happened? Or would it accept the truth, learn from it, and become something better? In a meeting larger than any ever held before, every species was invited, not just the powerful ones. Even small, forgotten planets sent their voices. And this time, the Council did not sit above them, they sat among them. Equal, listening, not controlling. The first speaker was a young girl from a farming world. She had watched the Earth videos and cried for a planet she had never seen. "I want to plant trees like Earth had," she said softly. "I want my children to feel green grass." Her voice was small, but it touched millions. Next, an old warrior from the Rillic Empire stood. His people once voted to erase Earth. He looked down in shame and said, "We feared humans because they were strong, but they were also kind. We chose fear over trust, and for that, I beg forgiveness." One by one, more voices rose, some angry, some grieving, some full of questions, but none of them demanded war. They demanded change. Back at the Galactic Council Tower, Talvek, the prime speaker, stood before the crowd. "I will not make a speech," he said. "I will make a promise. We will rewrite our laws so that no world, no people, no race can ever be erased again." A loud cheer rose from the gathering, and for the first time. Real unity was born not from politics, but from truth. Meanwhile, Terra Ultima continued to drift near the dead star. Its engines were quiet. But its systems still watched. The AI inside had no orders left to follow. But it had one mission it had created for itself: protect the truth. Inside its stasis pod, Captain Jace Marin slept peacefully. No longer a fugitive, no longer forgotten. He had done his duty. And now he rested like the last page of a long, painful book. But even sleeping, he was not alone. Terra Ultima carried his voice, his message, and his memory across every star one day. A group of young explorers approached the drifting ship. They didn't come with weapons, but with questions. They had studied Earth's history and wanted to learn more. The AI scanned them and opened the outer hatch. Inside, it welcomed them, and for the first time in centuries, laughter echoed in Terra Ultima's halls again. The explorers sat in the great library chamber and watched stories play. Humans building cities, curing diseases, exploring space, falling in love, making mistakes, and never giving up. They asked the AI why Earth was destroyed. It answered, because the galaxy chose fear. They asked why the ship didn't seek revenge. The AI answered, because Jace Marin chose peace. The explorers left days later, forever changed. They returned to their worlds and told everyone what they had seen, and more came. Scholars, dreamers, artists, even children, all came to learn from the ship that remembered Earth. Across the stars, monuments to Earth began to rise. Gardens designed like Earth's forests. Lakes created to mirror its oceans, and in every corner of the galaxy, a new law was taught to every child. Truth must never be buried. Centuries passed, but Terra Ultima never moved again. It became a place of learning, a place of peace. No longer feared, but respected, and even though humanity was gone, they had never been more present. Their memory had reshaped the galaxy, not with weapons, but with truth, not through force, but through a choice to be better, a choice to remember, a choice to never let silence win again. And so, in the end, the galaxy did not just survive, it healed because one ship carried a voice. One man carried a burden, and one forgotten race reminded them all. Never erase the truth, because truth never truly dies. That was Earth's final gift, and the galaxy would carry it forever.